Alright, so this is the best way that I can describe higher electromagnetic energy field on higher dimensional planes of existence that still exist within our frame of reference as a frequency scale that is larger than our own understanding. But to a large extent, you have the sun, you have the earth, all of the energy, to a large extent, one, created the earth, as well as is consistently inundating it with more energetic potential. Now, the energy itself comes in a bunch of different, well, it comes in one frequency and then it literally transitions to a smaller diode, or dilutes to a lower level frequency, to a lower level frequency, to a lower level frequency, but then it has the potential to rise back up through like biological entities to a large extent, through the genetic structures. They are allowed to facilitate and then utilize this kind of freestanding energy within another spatial reference of time, in which time is a weird thing. It's like a perceptual variable, and all mathematical structures are based upon the perceptual variable in and of itself. But anyways, so the planet itself is consistently being inundated with electromagnetic waves. These waves propagate to lower levels, and then those lower levels propagate also. And the transmission of data and individualistic aspects of the perceptual variables, to a large extent, are orientated on a large frame convectional structure where these frequencies kind of rise, consist, and rise, and then they kind of shift. Now, they don't shift, they can shift dramatically. To a large extent, the variables are there for like a long frame of time, and then even when that frame of time runs out, then it just drops down to another lower perceptual variable, or a higher perceptual variable, depending on what takes place. Mergers, as opposed to I don't know, just other atomic structures. Now, the atomic structures also apply to the astronomic structures to a large extent. They all kind of function on different levels of frequency. So, transmissional data, to a large extent, is observable, and it directly correlates to frequencies, and not just the perceptual variables, but also electrical variables that permeate the, I don't know, there's a lot of weird new terms that we kind of have to create or invent to describe certain things that I'm trying to describe. Because there's a lot of technology that comes from just this simple understanding. It just is kind of how we learn to understand it. Here's kind of another directional aspect of where, like, moon, if you set up artificial satellites, they can actually relay and transmit data, and then they become, to a large extent, their own, like, electromagnetic frequency hub for transmissional cognitive data. It's funny because this is kind of the mass structure, too, of the flow of electrical currents, or the flow of magnetism through the passing of an electrical current, which also kind of describes the flow and fluctuation between planetary structures, as well as this kind of is a weird intermediary aspect, and it's like stellar formations themselves and the nucleus, or the atomic structure. Now this more applies to like the unique aspect where, like, on a larger scale, the stellar structures kind of simmer down to just observable factual particles within their own probability variable, but at the same time, like an individualistic person in and of themselves, or an individual star, or even the atoms and kind of how they coalesce into larger structures is kind of just that, like, part of a larger scale. So, yeah, I'll end it there for right now.